begin session.
Hello, class. How's it going?
Oh, hi. It's going great. How are you?
I'm great. I'm Miss Looney.
And I'm Miss Barlotta.
Can we have everyone go around and say their names for us?
Oh, yeah. Can I start, please?
Yes, please go.
My name is Sean. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Sean.
Hello, my name's Ed.
Nice to meet you, Ed.
What up, ladies? My name's Kevin.
Nice to meet you, Kevin.
Yeah, alright.
Hey, what's up? My name is CJ.
Nice to meet you, CJ. Nice to meet you, Maria. Okay, so today we're going to be working on math, and we're going to be working mostly on multiplication and fractions. So our goal for today is to understand and practice multiplying fractions and creating models that will represent those fractions. So like drawing and stuff like that. We're going to use drawings to talk about how we make better sense of fractions, and we are also going to talk about real world uses of multiplication and fractions. So we're going to go ahead by just asking you a quick multiplication problem, and if you know the answer, you can raise your hand. Our question is 3 times 4. Does anyone off the top of their head know the answer to 3 times 4?
Oh, I think I do.
You think you do? Go ahead.
Is it 10? No, wait. 12.
12. It is 12. So that's a multiplication fact that you know, right? But to understand multiplication better, we should talk about it in a way that is more real world and maybe put it into a word problem.
Well, when you talk about 3 times 4, you're just talking about those 2 digits and you multiplied it together to get your answer, right? But we want to talk about what does 3 and what does the 4 actually represent. So if we wanted to kind of expand on this a little bit, to solve 3 times 4, if I asked you guys, if I had 3 backpacks with 4 books in each backpack, how many books do I have total? Now, I want you to draw out this problem.
Oh, okay, wait. Tell me again. What is it?
So you have 3 backpacks, and in each backpack you have 4 books.
Okay, I'm going to draw it.
Okay, yep,
3 backpacks,
everyone should give it a
four
shot.
books.
Everyone should try to draw it.
4 books?
Yep, 4 books. Do you want me to write it down?
1, 2, 3, 4 books. 1, 2, 3, 4 books. 1, 2, 3, 4 books. I mean, they're not right in the backpack, but it's kind of hard to do away with it.
It's okay, just supposed to represent something. It doesn't have to be a great artistic picture. Alright, so CJ, where did you draw your picture?
Page 15. It was open, I guess. Sean had skipped one.
Okay, so while I'm looking for your picture, can you explain to me how you drew what you drew and why you drew it?
Okay, I did it with my finger, and it was kind of hard because, yeah, so, and I did it because you told me,
Okay.
you were like, you need to draw the backpack to the book.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to explain.
I did say that, but why did I say that?
Wait, what?
Why did I tell you to draw the picture?
Because we were going to talk about some examples for the multiplication.
Right, and so what does your picture represent? What multiplication problem are we showing?
I don't know.
You don't know. Okay. So you drew how many backpacks?
3.
And how many books did you draw in each backpack?
4 books.
Okay, when you added up all the total books that were in each backpack, how many were there?
Oh, I haven't done that. Hang on.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12.
Okay, so we solved the multiplication problem you mentioned earlier, right? 3 times 4, we got 12. And you did the same thing with your picture.
Okay, I see it, because there's 1, 2, 3 backpacks times 1, 2, 3, 4, that is one of them side, that's 3 times 4 is 12. I got it, cool.
Awesome, yeah, you did get it. So for the whole class, if we're all listening to CJ's example that she drew, what she did was we took that problem and we divided it into groups. We made 3 groups of 3, and in each 3 we put 4. So breaking things down into groups is going to help us understand how we want to multiply fractions. We're going to be talking about fractions as being parts of whole numbers and different groups within them.
Okay.
Okay. So I think next we're going to try another problem, and we're going to use some fractions in this one.
So for this problem, we're also going to be drawing this one out. So I'll read the question out loud, but I also repeat it if we need to. And then I would like each of you to try to draw and represent this problem on your pads for us. And then when everyone's finished, we'll go and share. So the question is, there are 15 cars in Michael's toy collection. So Michael, he's our friend, he has 15 cars, okay? So...
Oh, I know, Michael. I'm glad.
Right, so 2/3 of Michael's cars are red. So what do I mean when I say 2/3?
I'm not really sure.
Not really sure. So we're gonna break all of Michael's cars, his total 15 cars, into 3 groups. So those are our thirds.
So when we're talking about the groups, as Ms. Looney mentioned, we're breaking it into 3 groups. That's going to be the bottom number in our fraction. So can everyone see the 2/3 that I wrote? Okay, so that bottom number that she mentioned is going to be our denominator. That's going to be the total number of groups that we're going to break 15 into.
So after we've broken our cars into thirds, we now can figure out how many 2/3 is. But our question is, how many red cars does Michael have total? So I'd like everyone to try to draw this on their pad.
While you're working on it, can you think of the problem that we did before? Remember, we put groups, we put a certain amount into each group, so that's what we're going to be focusing on. We're focusing on our bottom number.
Well, I'm going to do page 16.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine. And I want to see work from each person, please. Everybody in the back. And if you want to work with somebody next to you and you want to check with your partner, you can do that too.
Well, I think I'm going to work with Sean then.
Okay, go ahead. When you finished working on your own or with your partner, you can raise your hand and let me know that you're done. Okay, remember you can raise your hand when you're done.
Sean and I are done.
Alright, then raise your hand, let me know you're done.
Maria, have you finished your drawing?
Maria.
Have you completed your drawing of the representation of the question?
No.
What do we
do?
Why don't we get started? So, do you need me to repeat the question?
Yes, please.
Okay. So, there are 15 cars in Michael's toy collection. 2/3 of the cars are red. How many red cars does Michael have?
Oh, 10. 10 red cars.
So you know he has 10, but if you were going to teach someone else who didn't understand the question, how could you draw it for them?
There, page 17, done.
Page 17? Okay, remember, I want to see a drawing from everybody or from every partner, so we're gonna look over it. Page 17. look at everybody's, then we're going to talk about our strategies. CJ, how's your drawing going?
We're kind of working on it. We're finishing.
Okay.
Which page is yours on?
18. It's because we couldn't decide if the cards were going to be round or square, so now they're kind of a mix in between them.
Okay.
That's okay.
Okay, so raise your hand if you're done. Alright, I think
We're
everybody.
definitely done too.
Yep, okay. Maria, and you finish yours, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's all take a quick look at each other's work. So I'm looking at, I think, CJ and Kevin's. And can you
All right.
can you explain to me why you drew that picture the way you did?
So, okay, so we drew like the 15 cards, but since you showed us in your example earlier that you put them in groups, we put them in groups. So they were like 3 groups, but there were 5 each, so that's 15. And then we figured if there were 2 out of those 3 groups that have red cards, we kind of put a red over them and then counted them, and that was 10.
Good, very good. Alright, let's look at the rest of our classmates' work. I can find
Yay,
it.
we're awesome.
Oh, I saw it in my face, that was nice. Okay.
Mhm.
Now, Ed, can you show me your work that you did with Sean?
So they're page 16.
Okay.
And we actually didn't put them, we put them in rows. We just put them in rows of 5.
Uh-huh.
And then the first 2 rows would be 2/3. And we color them in red. And that's, we didn't count them, but we did know that was 2/3.
Right, because you had 2 of your 3 groups there together, right? Yeah, and rows is an excellent way to do it too, because you can clearly see how many of your rows or how many groups you have, and then you can see how many per group. Awesome job.
I think it's super wonderful that each of you drew the question a little bit differently, but you still understood how we had to break the 15 cards into groups of thirds. So,
And really quick, if we look at Maria's example too, because she also contributed a really great example, she did something similar to Ed and Sean, where she put rows, and she used those rows to signify her groups, and then she crossed off how many were going to be the red ones. So you guys did a really great job representing this.
Okay.
So do you kind of can someone explain to me in a quick sentence why we did this to find 2/3 of 15? Raise your hand when you're ready to tell me.
I don't know, it sounds like maybe so we could see it.
So you can see it, right?
Mhm.
Right, so this helped us to visualize what the 2/3 were actually going to be. And we ended up finding the answer, right?
Yeah.
do you think if we gave you another question, you could also do this again?
Sure, I guess so.
No, I'm not going to say guess so, I'm going to say definitely. We can all definitely do it again. You guys are doing awesome. So, we are going to give you another problem. Now, I want everyone to pay attention. If you're listening to me, can you please look up at me? CJ, Maria, Kevin, are we all paying attention?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So we're going to give you guys another problem, and this is going to be from your Solving Problems Involving Fractions worksheet. We all have our worksheet ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And we're going to start with the first problem. We're going to read it, we're going to talk about it, we're going to try to work it out. So, you have 3/4 of a pizza left. If you give 1/3 of the leftover pizza to your brother, how much of a whole pizza will your brother get? Okay. So using what we just worked on with our putting things into groups and understanding fractions and utilizing our group work, can we either draw out an example or write it out if you're more comfortable, either by yourself or with a partner. I'm going to give you a couple minutes to do it on your own, and then we'll talk about what we
Raise your
discovered.
hand if you have any questions.
I don't think I have a question at this time. Thank you very much.
Okay. And Wow.